morning, everyone. This is the 75th District Court, and we're doing the landlord-tenant pre-trials. We have a lot of cases that are set. Most of you are on mute. What's going to happen is for many of you, for cases of non-payment, in other words, if the lawsuit was that you can stay in your home if you pay your rent, I'm going to play a video for you in just a few minutes. I'm looking over to the left because there's another computer. I've got 3 computer screens I'm working off of this morning, so I don't mean to not make eye contact with you. But for those of you who have, for non-payment of rent, there may be a representative from Legal Services Eastern Michigan. I thought I'd heard earlier today that we had Miss Milik. Yep, she is here. And so we will make them available to you to make contact with in a private breakout room once I've called your case. For those of you who have non-payment, we're going to reset. Your hearing date will be on July the 28th at 10 o'clock to check in to see whether or not you've sought assistance or help from the Home to Stay program and see if you qualify. For those of you who have a termination type case, meaning that your case where the landlord says, we just want to be done with our interactions with one another, your next court hearing date will be on June the 30th at 1 o'clock. When I call each individual case, I will tell you which type of case that you have currently scheduled so that you will not be confused. But for most of you, your next court date will be July the 28th at 10 o'clock. And for about 5 or 6 of you, your next court hearing date will be on June the 30th at 1 o'clock. When I call your case, then that's the time for you to unmute yourself, because you can see we've got quite a few people that are participating today. That's why we have to have each of you muted so that we're not talking over one another. And then I will give you your next dates. So what I'm going to do first is for those who are in a lawsuit to where you can catch back up, and again, that's most of you, I'm going to play a video right now which will outline some important information and details and numbers that you may want to take down. So grab a pen and paper, and I'm going to play that video, and then I'm going to call each individual case. So with no further ado, we'll get started. Welcome to the 75th District Court. This case is a landlord-tenant dispute. There are a number of rights that I must inform you about and that you will see on the following screens. First, I want to advise you that you have a right to an attorney. If you do not have an attorney but are financially able to retain one, you may locate an attorney through the State Bar of Michigan or a local lawyer referral service. The State Bar of Michigan can be reached at 517-346-6300, or you may contact on the web at www.michigan.org. If you do not have an attorney and you are not financially able to retain one, you might qualify for assistance through the local legal aid office by calling 800-322-4512. There are a number of different agencies, both state and locally, that may be able to assist you. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, the local Coordinated Entry Agency, which in Midland County is called Home to Stay, the Federal Help for Homeless Veterans Program, or the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, or other community agencies may be able to assist you with payment of some or all of your rent that is due. MDHHS may be reached locally at 989-835-7070 or on the web
at www.michigan.gov/mybridges. You may contact Home to Stay at 989-496-9550. If you seek assistance for veterans, you may be available through the National Call Center for Homeless Veterans. That number is 1-877-424-3838, or the Department of Veterans Affairs Homeless Veterans homepage at www.va.gov. The Housing Development Authority may be reached at 517-335-9953. It's important for you to know that you do not need a judgment to receive assistance from MDHHS or the local CEA, which is Home to Stay. The summons and complaint from the court case is sufficient. If you have a caseworker at MDHHS, you should contact your worker immediately. If you do not have a caseworker at MDHHS, you should contact MDHHS at 989-835-7070, or you may go on to the web at www.michigan.gov/mybridges and do so immediately. The Michigan Community Dispute Resolution Program, known as CDRP, and the local CDRP offices are available as a possible source for this case resolution. CDRP may be involved in resolution of the summary proceedings cases, but must be agreed to by both parties. They can be reached or contacted at 810-249-2619, or the office is located at 315 East Court Street, Suite 200 in Flint, Michigan. You should also know that there is a possibility of having a conditional dismissal, which is pursuant to MCR 2.602, if approved by all parties. Forms are available to effectuate such a conditional dismissal online at www.courts.michigan.gov. There may be an attorney representative from Legal Services of Eastern Michigan available for you to meet with today if you would like. You are not under any obligation to meet with the attorney, but you may if you wish. Make sure to let the judge know when he asks you if you want to do this, and we will provide you a confidential opportunity to do so. For services according to their guidelines. However, they are here to give you general advice on. This does not mean that the attorney advising you today is agreeing to take your case. You would have to qualify for service.
This one doesn't seem to work. All right. On March 22nd, 2021, the Michigan Supreme Court amended its order 2020-17 as follows. In cases filed pursuant to MCL 600-5714, 1A, for non-payment of rent, the court must stay further proceedings after the pretrial hearing is conducted, that's what today is, and not proceed to judgment if a defendant applies for COVID emergency rental assistance, called CERA, and notifies the court of the application. The stay, meaning the stop, is contingent upon the following events. First, eligibility determination is made by the appropriate HARA within 30 days after the pretrial hearing, which is Home to Stay. The defendant, meaning the person who is the tenant, is eligible to receive rental assistance for all of the rent owed, and the plaintiff, which is the landlord, receives full payment from the CERA program within 45 days of the pretrial hearing. If any of these events do not occur, excluding delays attributable to the plaintiff, which means the landlord, the court must lift the stay and continue the case. This is the end of advice or rights as required by the Michigan Supreme Court Order 2020-17. So now I'm going to call the individual cases. The first case that I'm calling on this morning's docket is the case of Horizon Bank versus Daniel and Mary Riley. This is file 21-23316LT. So anyone associated with that case, please unmute yourselves and the attorney for Horizon Bank, please identify yourself for the record.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I'm sorry, that case
Katrina?
has been dismissed.
Okay, I'm still on my spreadsheet. Sorry.
It just came off like 5 minutes ago.
All right. Do we have any other ones that have come off?
Nope, that's the only one I've gotten this morning. So your spreadsheet should be up to date as far as that.
All right. The next case then is Neighborhood Mortgage Solutions LLC versus Tyler Zarnicki and all other occupants. This is file 21-23315 LT. With the attorney for the plaintiff, please identify themselves.
Hi, Judge. Good morning. My name is Catherine Hartkop, appearing on behalf of Neighborhood Mortgage.
Okay, and do we have Tyler Zarnicki or anyone who is an occupant of the property located at 4121 South Lewis Road? If so, please identify yourself.
Samantha Zarnicki and Tyler Zarnicki.
Okay. Today's time and date set for a pretrial. Ms. Zarnicki and Mr. Zarnicki, this case is set for June 30th at 1 o'clock. If you wish, we do have someone from legal services that could meet with you to see if you qualify for any of their assistance, but the next hearing date would be on June 30th at 1 o'clock. You need to be here for that date. Otherwise, you will lose by default. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Yes.
Do you wish to meet with an individual from Legal Services of Eastern Michigan? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Katrina, could we put the Zarnickis in with Ms. Milik? And then Ms. Milik, I do have two more termination cases. The rest of them are all non-payment of rent.
We actually have Marcella in the breakout room to gather information, and then I'll follow up with the Zarnickis later today or tomorrow. So
Okay.
she'll get the information from them.
Great. Mr. and Mrs. Zarnicki, you're going to meet with staff, with an individual who works with Ms. Milik. They're just going to get your information because, as you can see, we have quite a few cases today, and then they'll follow
Okay.
up later today. After
Okay, thank you.
After you finish meeting with them, you're free to leave the meeting just by hanging up or deleting the Zoom meeting. Okay?
Okay, so do I have to click join for the breakout room?
You do, and then after that, you can just leave.
All right, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Judge, this is an attorney for the plaintiff. Could I meet with the Zarnickis, or is there a person I can discuss this matter with? This is a post foreclosure matter.
Yes, I suppose, Ms. Milik, do you have any opposition to that? No. So what we'll do is we'll have you meet in with the Zarnickis as well.
Oh,
So,
very
Katrina,
good.
if you
I'll
could-
be put in that breakout room then.
Yes, we'll add you to the breakout room.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good day. All right, the next case is Steve Wixon, conservator for Phyllis Rooks versus Edward Rooks. This is file 21-23329 LT. With the attorney for the plaintiff, please identify himself for the record. I think it's Mr. Mishik. I saw him, but I'm not hearing him. Mr. Mishik, you only need to unmute yourself.
There we go.
There we
Mike Mishik. I'm the attorney for Steve Wixon, who's the director of the Office of Midland Public Guardian.
All right, do we have Edward Rooks here? If so, please identify yourself for the record.
Yeah, good morning, Your Honor. John Garday. I'm appearing on behalf of Mr. Edward Rooks, and I do see that my client is here via Zoom as well.
Okay. Today is the date set for the pretrial. Is regarding property located at 4326 West Pine River in St. Louis. It looks to be a termination case. Termination case hearing will be held on June 30th at 1 o'clock. Anything else we need to place on the record, Mr. Mishik?
No, Your Honor, we just advise the court we're going to discuss some options here. Not sure what we can work out, but in the next 7 days, we'll be having those discussions.
All right. Katrina, how many breakout rooms did we create?
Honor, I created quite a few if the attorneys would like to meet.
If you wish to meet, we can place you in the breakout room right now, or it's up to the two of you.
Yeah, we did speak previously, Your Honor, so I have to meet with Mr. Wixon to discuss my discussion with Attorney Garday.
Okay. So it would not really be beneficial at this point in time to put.
No,
you in the
Your Honor.
breakout room.
And
All right,
if we need more time to work things out, would the court be amenable to moving the June 30 date if that is necessary?
I would not have a problem since I have two attorneys on both sides, especially if you do a stipulation for the request to pick an amenable date for both of you.
Great. Thank you, Your
All
Honor.
right, thank you. We'll be adjourned on that file at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next file is the case of Heritage Arms versus Christine Falala and Dustin Geary. It's file 21-23311LT. Would the attorney for the plaintiff please identify themselves?
Good morning, Your Honor. Carrie Side, P67390 on behalf of the plaintiff.
Okay, and do we have Christine or Dustin here today? If so, please unmute yourself and identify yourself for the record. It does not appear that they have appeared in court. And from my notes, this looks to be a non-payment of rent case and not a termination case. So this is scheduled for a review on July the 28th. This court does this way to determine whether or not when to set the next court date. So we'll be adjourned until July 28th at 10 a.m.
Perfect. Thank you, Your Honor. Have a wonderful
Thank you.
morning.
You too. We'll be adjourned. The next case is D&C Property Rentals LLC versus Ruth Sutton. This is file 21-23324LT. Would the attorney for the plaintiff please identify himself?
Good
Your
morning,
Honor.
Your Honor. Andrew Thompson.
Yes.
Plaintiff.
I apologize. Could you there you go. Thank you. Start your video.
Yes, thank you. All right, so Mr. Thompson's made an appearance. We have Ms. Sutton here. So please unmute yourself and identify yourself for the record. I do see a phone number. You may have to hit Ms. Sutton *6.
And Your Honor, this is Amy Mylink. I am appearing on behalf of Ms. Sutton.
Okay. Well, then, if you've already had made contact with her, that we have this looks to be a termination case scheduled for June 30th. Do you need to meet with Mr. Thompson regarding that, or if the two of you just make contact with one another?
Right. We actually had a discussion last night, and we think Ms. Sutton says she's going to be moving out this weekend, and we hope to have it resolved before next week. If not, we'll appear next week and get an order entered.
All right, and we'll be adjourned on this case until June 30th at 1 o'clock if it's necessary.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Sutton, you're free to go at this time. The next file is 421 Ashman LLC versus Zachary Meyer, file 21-23336LT. Would the attorney for the plaintiffs please identify himself?
Good morning, Your Honor. Andrew Thompson on behalf of the plaintiff in this matter.
Do we have Zachary Meyer with us this morning? If so, please unmute yourself and
No,
identify yourself.
I'm an occupant.
You're the occupant. Are you Christina Morris?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Morris, we do have someone from Legal Service of Eastern Michigan you can meet with. Your next hearing date is scheduled for July 28th at 10 o'clock. Would you like to see if you qualify for services from Legal Services or speak with their representative this morning?
No.
Okay. Are you planning on staying at the apartment?
Well, I just read about the home to stay that you had put on there, so I am going to see if maybe I can get some help with it. Like, I moved in as a sublease and wasn't supposed to, so all this was kind of just thrown at me.
Okay. Well, it's your choice whether or not you want to try to do this on your own or seek help. So we can make it available to you, but if you wish to.
Okay, yeah, I would.
All right. So we'll put you in the breakout room with representative from Legal Service Eastern Michigan. You can chat with them, but make sure you're back on Zoom call on July the 28th at 10 o'clock. Okay. Let's find out the amount before you leave. Let's find out the amount that you may need to be aiming for. So, Mr. Thompson, do we have the amount of rent to retain possession? And looks like the money judgment amount is not a factor because Miss Morris was not personally served or listed.
No, I was not.
As all other occupants. So, do you have the amount of rent to retain possession?
Yes, Your Honor, and this is calculated through. It would be through the expected writ date from a So it would include August, since the next hearing date is July 28th.
Yes.
And that would be rent to retain possession of $2,844 with court costs of $214.70 for a total amount to retain possession of $3,058.70. Again, that is rent calculated through the end of August, because
Yes.
the writ date would be in August at that point.
Yes, that makes sense. So, Ms. Morris, that
And
number probably sounds.
I've only lived here since the last week of May.
Yes, but here's why that number sounds so large. Because the Supreme Court is requiring a 28-day or 30-day moratorium, and we're towards the end of June, that amount of money would include both July's rent, which would start in the beginning of July, and August's rent, and June's. So I don't know if there's any other pass, but you need to know that number in order for to seek the assistance. But you will have another issue. You want to talk with legal services. You're not listed on the contract. So that's an issue that you're going to have to figure out or get resolved. I understand you're a subleaser, but you will need to get that figured out. But in order for Mr. Meyer to stay, and that's how you're getting your right to stay there, that rent will have to be caught up.
I get that.
All right. July 28th is next time we should see you then. We'll be adjourned.
Okay. Thank you.
Your Honor,
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
I'm going to put her in a breakout room. However, she's going to be in there by herself until Marcella is done with the other people. I just
Okay. Yes. Please stay put where you're at, and someone will join you. Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Tina, how are
afternoon.
you going to manage that to know when to move from Marcella?
I have it. I'm watching Marcella and to see when no one else is in there, and then I will move her.
All right. Well, very talented.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the next case, and that is Alpine Mobile Home Village versus Matthew McCullen. This is file 21-23331LT. Would the attorney for the plaintiffs please identify himself for the record?
This is Garrett Robinson on behalf of the plaintiff.
All right. Do we have Mr. McCullen here today? If so, please unmute yourself.
Your Honor, this case, we've sent in a dismissal in this case. It's probably on its way.
Dismissal. All right. Then we don't have to worry about proceeding further or setting this further date.
If I may interrupt, how did you send that dismissal? Was it by mail?
It was likely by fax.
Okay, because we have not received anything
I'll
yet.
follow up with our landlord tenant department and make sure that it's on its way.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you an email address so you can send it an email attachment if you wish. And that's at 75civil@co.midland.mi.us. All right,
Thank
we'll
you.
be adjourned on that case. Calling case of Alpine Mobile Home Village versus Gary Proctor, file 21-23332LT. Would the attorney for the plaintiff please identify himself for the record?
Again, this is Garrett Robinson on behalf of the plaintiff.
Do we have Gary Proctor here today? If Gary would please unmute himself. Does not appear. Ms. Mylick, I see you, but you're not making an appearance, so I presume you've no relationship, attorney-client relationship with him as well. All right, this is a case for non-payment of rent. Mr. Robinson, the next date for this case will be July 28th at 10 o'clock for a status conference. We'll be adjourned on this file. The next file is Alpine Mobile Home Village versus Rebecca Vance. This is file 21-23333LT. The attorney for the plaintiff please identify himself for the record.
Again, it's Garrett Robinson on behalf of the plaintiff.
All right, today's time and date set for pretrial in this case. Do we have Miss Vance, Rebecca Vance? If I see you're on a phone, so you're going to have to hit *6 in order to *6 or *7 to unmute yourself. If you could, please. There we go. Could you state your name?
My name is Rebecca Vance.
All right, today's time and date set for summary proceedings pretrial. Mr. Robinson, do you have the amount of rent to retain possession in this case?
I have her current past due amount at $3,984.34.
That's the current amount. So if the writ date were not till August, both July and August would need to be caught up. Is that true?
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry, Your Honor.
You said the current amount past due is $3,984 plus court costs.
Correct.
Correct?
Right.
Because of the moratorium by the Supreme Court for 30 days, that means the next time we can meet is about July 28th. I suspect that your client would have July rents due. And then if the writ date were after July 28th and into August, I suspect August was due. If
Correct.
Home to Stay is willing to try to catch her up, it makes sense probably to know what those 2 months worth of rent would be on top of the $39.84 in order for her to properly speak with Home to Stay or seek assistance. Do you know what the rent is per month?
I just got the ledgers this morning and I'll pull it up.
Okay. Ms. Vance, are you planning on meeting with a representative from Legal Services of Eastern Michigan?
I am not. I've already made contact with Anita from Home to Stay. She sent me the information for the Sarah application last night.
Okay. Why don't we find out what full, do you know how much, Ms. Vance, your rent is per month?
It changes every month, so I can't give you like really a base number because it also includes water and stuff.
Base rent is $402.
Okay.
But
So
yeah, she's right. On top of that, sewer and water, it looks like are variable, but the base rent is $402.
okay. So ma'am, the amount that you would want to be talking about is 4788. And of course your sewer and water, I have no idea either. So the amount of money though that you'd be at least wanting to seek is about $5,000. $4,958 is what I show when you add both of those together to get you caught up. And of course, whatever your sewer and water is, you probably would know better than anyone. But the next date you'll need to be back is July 28th at 10 o'clock.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Then we'll be adjourned on this case at this time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. The next
Bye-bye.
case is Northwind Forest LLC versus Philip Chadwell, file 21-23312 LT. Would the attorney for the plaintiff please identify themselves?
Yes, sir. Steve Gann, P78209, appearing for the plaintiff.
Okay, and do we have Philip Chadwell with us this morning? If so, please unmute yourself and identify yourself for the record. It does not appear that Mr. Chadwell is here. I show Mr. Gann that this is a possession only case. Well, it looks like possession in a money judgment amount. The defendant is failed to appear, so the status conference date will be July 28th at 10 o'clock.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll be adjourned. The next case is Northwind Forest LLC versus April Labonte, file 21-23313 LT. Attorney, please identify yourself for the plaintiff.
Yes, again, one Steve Gann, P78209, appearing for plaintiff on this case.
All right, so we have April Labonte or anyone associated with 5220 Hedgewood, apartment 509 here in the virtual courtroom. There's no one in the actual courtroom this morning. So would we have April Labonte or anyone associated with that property? Please unmute yourself.
I did.
Ah, there we go. Ms. Labonte, good morning.
Good morning.
Ms. Labonte, have you sought any assistance from Home to Stay?
I don't need to. I paid last month's rent. I think that's what we're talking about right now. And I did get my unemployment this morning. So I'm going to go down and pay it today. I just need to know how much I have to pay.
Why don't we do that to see if Mr. Gann has the most recent numbers? So Mr. Gann?
Yes, sir. Right now I'm showing a $327.80 plus a filing fee and a service fee that would need to be paid. And the manager would be able to tell you the exact amount of each of those and your total bill if you want to give her a call right after this.
No problem. I got it. So.
All right, right now, I will, if you get that paid off and they do a dismissal, then you do not have to appear on July 28th. Otherwise, this case is reset for July 28th at 10 o'clock.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll be adjourned. Next file is Northwind Forest Investors LLC versus Chelsea Shaw. File 21-23314LT. Would the attorney for plaintiff please identify himself for the record?
Yes, sir. Steve Gann, P78209, appearing for the plaintiff.
All right, this is regarding property located at 5220 Hedgewood, apartment 216. Is Chelsea Shaw here? Oh, Ms. Labonte, you're all set to go. You can leave the.
Okay, thank you.
If there's anyone here that's associated with 5220 Hedgewood, apartment 216, please unmute yourself. Looks like no one is appearing for the tenant. So, Mr. Gann, the next show cause date, excuse me, the status conference date is July 28th at 10 o'clock. We'll be adjourned on file. Thank you. The next file is Parkside Apartments versus Autumn Saunders, file 21-23328LT. Would the attorney for the plaintiffs please identify himself?
Yes, sir. Steve Gann, P78209, appearing for plaintiff on this case.
All right. Do we have Autumn Saunders or anyone associated with 515 North 3rd, apartment A3 here today?
This is Autumn.
All right, Ms. Saunders, good morning.
Good morning.
Saunders, are you seeking any assistance to get caught up in your rent?
Yes. Yep. I am actually working with Anita for Homes to Stay, doing the Sarah application. We've gotten everything turned in.
Okay, why don't we find out what the amount of rent that's owed so you can make sure that it's up to date and you're asking for the correct amounts. Again, presume that the writ date would be in August.
Looking at this, Your Honor, this is actually going to be a little bit easier than having to do the math because I believe she has recertified and is now a zero renter effective in June. So we're only talking about the back rent of $192 plus some court fees and late fees. So the Sierra should definitely be able to cover all that, especially since she is now a zero renter going forward, because she is an income-based property.
All right, so you said 192 plus court costs?
Correct.
So $192 plus $191.60, total amount you should be looking for is $383.60.
360?
38360.
Okay.
All right, we'll be adjourned on your case. It's rescheduled for July 28th just to check to see if you've got everything resolved.
And if I could add one more thing, Ms. Saunders, make sure if you do have any utilities that are owed that you let the Sierra application know about that, so they can try and assist you with that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll be adjourned.
Thank you. I believe that completes my call to court today.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gann. The next file is Oakwood Place versus Megan Carr. It's file 21-23325LT. Counsel for plaintiff, please identify themselves.
Good morning, Your Honor. Brian Butchart, P6620. I represent the plaintiff.
All right, do we have an individual by the name of Megan Carr here this morning? So please identify yourself.
Good morning.
Oh, okay, good morning, Ms. Carr. Today's time of day set for a pretrial. Ms. Carr, are you planning on seeking assistance to catch up with your rent?
Yes,
All right, you've already made contact with Home to Stay?
I have not. I just wrote down the information from the video.
All right, would you like to meet with the Legal Services of Eastern Michigan to see if they can assist you?
Yes, please.
All right, let's find out what the amount of rent to retain possession would be from Mr. Butchart.
Judge, I currently show an amount of $1,596, court costs of $152 for a total of $1,748.
All right, and is that the current amount to retain possession?
That's correct.
All right, so Ms. Carr, you may also want to consider July and August rent if you're unable to catch up with that, because the writ date for this case, if it came, would not be until August. Mr. Butchart, do you know how much it is per month for rent?
It is $723 per month, Judge.
Okay, so 23 2 plus.
Without additional late fees, that would be $31.94 by my math.
So 30, 36. Well, you said, oh, so 1596. So let's see.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was adding the court costs to my figure as well.
That's right. 42. It is 3194.
Okay.
Did we agree on the number or not, Mr. Butcher? I think we're off by a bit. So
No, we're
3042,
good.
I show $55 filing fee, $22 service fee, $75 statutory attorney fee for $152 in costs. And I think you said 1596.
Yes.
Right? So if it was 1596, it's 723 a month times 2 is 1446 plus 1596 is 3042 plus 152 is 3194.
We agree. Yep.
All right, Ms. Carr, when you speak with Home to Stay or ask for assistance, it would make sense for you to ask both for July's and August rents if you qualify. So we'll put you in a breakout room. Once you finish, you need to join the breakout room. And then when you're done with the breakout room meeting with the representative from Home to Stay, then you can just leave the meeting. Make sure that you are back on July 28th at 10 o'clock unless the rent's all paid up and you're caught up.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be adjourned. Next case is Oakwood Place versus Logan Diaz-Hans, file 21-23326LT. Attorney for plaintiff, please identify yourself.
Good morning again, Judge Brian Butchart, P66250. I represent the plaintiff.
All right, do we have anyone here that's associated with property 5301 Dublin, number 700? If so,
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Please state your name.
My name is Logan Diaz-Pons.
All right, Ms. Diaz-Pons, are you planning on seeking assistance to catch up with your rent?
Yes, Your Honor. I have contacted Home to Stay. They will be reviewing my application today, and I am waiting for unemployment to come through.
Do you know the amount that you would need to be asking for?
I believe they're asking for $949 currently.
All right.
I'm
Mr.
not
Butchart,
sure
is that-
again with the extra dates.
Why don't we find out the amount, Mr. Butchart?
Judge, that was accurate when we filed the case in May. However, the June's rent has also now accrued. And so our current balance due is $1,898 plus court costs of $152 for $2,050. The monthly rent rate is $899.
1800. So ma'am, if you were seeking assistance for the full amount, if you qualified, you should actually be asking for $3,848.
Can you repeat that number one more time, please?
Yes, ma'am, $3,848.
Okay, thank you.
That's the 300,696. And what that constitutes is you caught up through May, but June rent is due. So when you add that number plus the next 2 months rent, which is approximately $900 a month, then you have those that would catch you up through August.
Okay.
All right. Well, the next date you'll need to be here is July 28th at 10 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll be adjourned. Thank you. Next file is Oakwood Place versus Alyssa Love. This is file 21-23327LT. Attorney for plaintiff, please identify themselves.
Your Honor, I just
morning.
got a dismissal from Miss Smiling, probably about 10 minutes ago.
Okay. So this case is dismissed. Did you agree with that, Mr. Butchart?
I do, Judge. We resolved it this morning just before Your Honor took the bench.
Okay, and that looks to me to complete your caseload.
Your Honor, I do
I
have
do
someone that, I'm sorry, Mr. Bouchard.
Oh, I was just going to indicate I have a 10 o'clock adjourned case as well this morning.
Yes, all right.
I'll stick
Thank you.
around.
We do have a telephone number ending in 8448. Please tell us who you are.
Jeremy Hanston.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Hanson, we have you for 10 o'clock, so you're a little bit early. That's great. We'll get to your case in just a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
I'm
Thank you.
going to put him in the waiting room while we're waiting. Finish.
All right. Now, the next few files says Woodland Place, so we're calling the case Woodland Place Apartments versus Shaylee Backus, Gavin Shilo, and Cody Schneider, file 21-23317LT. Would the attorney for the plaintiff please identify himself?
Richard Herman on behalf of the plaintiff.
Do we have anyone here on behalf of Shaylee Backus, Gavin Shilo, and Cody Schneider, or anyone who is an occupant of 4512 North Saginaw Road, number 1229? Doesn't look like it, Katrina. I see Mr. Bouchard, I see Oakwood manager, I see, but I do not see anyone here. So it looks as if, Mr. Herman, that the next date will be July 28th at 10 o'clock.
Perfect, Judge.
Thank you. We're adjourned on that case, calling the case of Woodland Place Apartments versus Rhonda Plotnick, file 21-23319LT. Counsel, identify yourself for the record.
Richard Herman, plaintiff.
All right, Ms. Plotnick, it looks like you are here. Could you please identify yourself?
Hi, that would be me, Rhonda Plotnick.
All right, Ms. Plotnick, are you seeking assistance to try to stay in your apartment?
I wrote down the information that you gave me for homestay, and I'm going to contact them today.
Would you like to meet with this with a representative from Legal Service of Eastern Michigan?
Yes, I would, please.
All right, Mr. Herman, do we have the numbers available for the rent to retain possession?
Yes, sir. Through June, it's $879 in rent, $138 in costs. So the total redemptive amount is $2,017 even. By the time,
is it 1879 you said, or 879?
18.
Okay, all right. So 2017, but through the August time period?
Through August, it would be $36.81. That includes court costs, Judge.
Okay. So, ma'am, if you wish to seek assistance, you may want to ask to get caught up as well in July and August to see if you qualify.
Okay.
You'll need to make sure you're back on July 28th at 10 o'clock unless you're currently caught up. If you could catch up only for the month of June, if you don't need the assistance, then you would be caught up for that. Otherwise, we'll see you on July 28th.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Next file is Woodland Place Apartments versus Justin Galloway, file 21-23320LT. Counsel, identify yourself for the record.
Richard Herman, plaintiff.
And let's see, do we have anyone here? Do we have Justin Galloway here or anyone associated with 4512 North Saginaw Apartment 702? Does not appear that anyone is showing for that case. Mr. Herman, the next date for this case would be July 28th at 10 o'clock. We'll be adjourned.
Perfect.
Next file is Woodland Place Apartments versus Shaquille Marshall, file 21-23322LT. Counsel, identify yourself for the record.
Excuse me, Richard Herman, plaintiff.
All right, is anyone here for apartment 507 of 4512 North Saginaw Road or Ms. Marshall? Does not look as if anyone is here for the defendant. The next date will be July 28th at 10 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Herman.
You're welcome, Judge. Thanks. And it's almost the weekend. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Yes,
The
sir.
next file is the case of Muti Abdullah and Fadwa Tayfor versus Gerald and Michelle McCann. It's file 21-2330LT. Do we have Muti Abdullah or Fadwa Tayfor here?
Your Honor, Attorney Raymond Mashni, I'm going to be appearing on behalf of the plaintiffs.
Okay. You're here for the plaintiffs?
Yes. Yes.
All right. I show that this is a non-payment of rent case. Do we have Gerald or Michelle McCann or anyone here on their behalf? Or anyone who is associated with 350 North 8 Mile? No one.
Your Honor,
appears.
I believe they vacated.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I believe they vacated. My client just wants a judgment so he can go in and secure the properties. It appears he went there and it looks in and it looks like all the furniture's done and no one's been there. No vehicles have been there.
Well, I've not had this since we had the moratorium put on by the Supreme Court. So what is your experience regarding moving ahead when you believe someone's moved out? Because I'm told that after the pretrial, I still needed to wait 30 days. So of course, they have an affirmative requirement to secure the protections. Do you have either of your clients here today to testify?
No, I don't. I could have them, I could see if they could zoom in. Mute is a doctor and he's sometimes hard to get a hold of during the day.
How about Fadwa?
Fedra, let me text and see if I got another phone I'm gonna text on. Let me see. Do you have any other cases you could call while I'm waiting?
No, we've got a 10 o'clock docket that we're going to go to here for just a minute. So if you want to try to do that, I'll just adjourn temporarily, and then we'll see if we can get somebody here that can give us some testimony regarding the vacation of the property.
Okay. All right, great.
Thank you. All right. Calling now the case of Oakwood Place versus Doris and Jasmine Michi. This is file 21-23291LT. Counsel for plaintiff, please identify yourself.
Good morning again, Your Honor. Brian, 66250. I represent the plaintiff.
And do we have, looks like Doris is trying to unmute herself. So can you hit the space? There we go. Can you tell us your name, please?
Doris Kelly Melkai.
Melkai, you said?
Yes.
I'm missing an L in my spreadsheet here. All right, ma'am, are you representing yourself?
I guess.
Have you hired an attorney or talked to anybody from Legal Services of Eastern Michigan?
I'm working with what is that called? Oh my goodness.
Home to Stay?
Yes, Home to Stay. I'm working with them.
When did you file your application?
Oh wow. A few weeks ago, probably about 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
It took me 3 weeks to be able to talk to anybody.
All right. Mr. Butchart, what is the amount of rent to maintain possession?
Judge, we are showing a current balance due in the amount of $2,038.53. Court costs of $152 for a total proposed amount due of $2,190.53.
Okay. Michaela, do we have the next date scheduled for this case? Because this is the status conference, which means I'm still within the 30 days. We need something that would be 45 days from the pretrial date.
The next date would be August 18th. We could do a 1 o'clock.
Now that's way far out. We only, the question was, do we have the pretrial date? Could you pull up the JS to find out when the pretrial date was for this case?
The pretrial date was May 19th.
All right. So May 19th, 31 minus 19 is 12 plus 30. It would be the July 7th. We need to give that date.
You can do a 1:30 on July 7th.
Okay. Ms. Melke, you're going to have to come up with the money or the protections will run out for you by July 7th. And so you will need to either get an attorney, qualify for Legal Service of Eastern Michigan, or appear and represent yourself on July 7th at 1:30.
Okay,
Make sure you make contact with Home to Stay, just make sure that the payments are coming through. And also, I'm not certain, Mr. Butchart, is that amount that we just talked about, that would only catch up through what date?
Those are the amounts due through the end of June.
Through the end of June. So what'll happen is July's rent will be owed. I presume your rent's due in July, correct? 1st of July? All right, so if you're asking for assistance, that 2190.53 will catch you up through June, but your July rent won't be paid.
okay.
So you'll need to, so if you're asking for assistance, you will want to ask also, if you need the assistance, you'll need to ask for July's rent too.
Okay,
How much is rent per month, Mr. Butchart?
Judge, rent is $743 per month.
Okay, so
Your Honor.
Yes.
I was on MISTA. I had a MISTA voucher, and on a Friday evening, I got the mail and was notified that my rent went from 212 up to 750. My disability is 786. I can't do that.
Well,
I
Ms.
need
Mel-
my
Ms.
voucher
Mel-
back.
Hang on. I can't, my job is to be neutral. I can't offer assistance or help you. You may want to, and I would strongly suggest that you talk to somebody from Legal Services of Eastern Michigan who are attorneys who can help you. Mr. Butchart represents the plaintiff. I'm supposed to be in the middle. I get it. You're saying that you would have $30 left to live on for a whole month if that's the amount, but I can't assist you regarding that. You're going to have to talk with an attorney to see about the mischief funds.
Okay,
Okay. So what you can do to buy yourself a little breathing room, though, is to ask for the SARA funds for the amount of $2,933.53, because that would catch you up all the way through July and give you some time to figure out the MISTA amount problem.
okay.
So
Thank you.
why don't we put you in a breakout room with someone from Home to Stay, and then you can have a discussion with them.
Okay, thank you.
All
With
right,
legal
thank you.
services.
Legal services. I'm sorry, with legal services. Sorry about that.
Oh, so
See
I
people
do have-
popping in.
okay.
All right. You stay right where you are. We'll put you, you just have to hit join when we send the request. All right. Thank you.
Joint.
Judge, I believe that concludes my matters with you today. Thank you so much.
It does. Thank you. All right. Recalling the case of Muti Abdullah and Fadwa Tafor versus Gerald and Michelle McCann, file 21-23330LT. Counsel, identify yourself for the record.
Raymond Mashni appearing on behalf of the plaintiffs.
Okay. Yeah, it looks as if you were successful in reaching your clients.
Yes.
Okay, today's time and date set for a pre-trial. My understanding, Mr. Mashni, is that your clients, one or the other, is going to testify that the home has been vacated, therefore no one would be seeking assistance and be afforded the protections under the Supreme Court. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, why don't you call your witness and I will swear them in and we'll take the testimony and we can move from there.
Okay, I will call Mute Abdul.
All right, dude, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can put your hand down now. Mr. Mashni, you're a witness, sir.
Okay, Dr. Abdul, you are the plaintiff in this matter,
Yes,
and you own the house at 350 North 8 Mile Road in Midland?
yes, my wife and I own it.
Okay, and
She's here.
and the tenants, Gerald and Michelle McCann, and all other occupants have vacated the premises, is that correct?
Yes, up to my knowledge.
Okay, and your employees told you that the house is vacant, there's no furniture in it?
Yes,
And they have been behind rent. When you filed the complaint, you stated that they've been $4,000 due on the date of filing, and rent is $1,000 per month?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm not Your Honor.
For the judge.
That's okay.
Yeah, the judge, that's for the judge.
Yes.
That's for the court.
Yes, okay. And there's late fees owing, and they have not made any payments since you filed the complaint. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I have nothing further.
All right, thank you. The defendants in this case were served by posting on July 5th and given the notice to be here at 9 o'clock. Supreme Court does say that there needs to be a pretrial and then protections under the pretrial if they provide information to the court that they are seeking assistance or funding. This court has taken a position that we would automatically set this out for a show cause, a status conference, not a show cause, a status conference, approximately 28 days because it is 4 weeks, so a 4-week cycle. And that would offer the tenants an opportunity to at least have a few more days to seek assistance. There is testimony here today that the property has been vacated and that no one is living in the property. There's no furniture in the property. And since that is the case, this court will determine that the property has been vacated, that the protections provided by the Supreme Court make no sense in this case based on the facts and circumstances. And therefore, I will grant possession of the property. I will wait until Monday. The writ date will be Monday, the 28th, just in case that there's someone who has a few more items that are on the property. So June 28th will be the writ date. And since I will put the $5,000 for rent to retain possession in case they are there, plus the court costs and filing fees totaling $137.79. So the possession judgment will be $5,137.79. Writ date will be on June the 28th. Will be adjourned, and Mr. Mashney, you may send your judgment to 75civil@co.midland.mi.us.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, that's very fair. Thank you.
Thank you. The next case I'm calling is Whispering Pines Housing Community versus Jeremy Hansen, file 21-23293LT. Would the parties please identify themselves, starting with the plaintiff?
Richard Freeman, the owner.
Mr. Hansen, would you please identify yourself, please?
Jeremy Hansen, tenant.
All right, today's time and date set for a status conference. This is regarding property located at 466 North Merritt. Is that the correct address, Mr. Freeman?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Mr. Hansen, do we have the right property?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. This looks to be a possession only case. Mr. Freeman, what is the amount of rent to retain possession?
$650 plus court costs.
All right, so that total amount would be $745. Mr. Hansen, are you working with any programs or anyone to catch? Well, first of all, do you agree you're renting the property from Mr. Freeman?
Yes, I'm renting the property.
Do you agree you're behind in rent?
Believe I'm behind in June's rent, yes.
Okay, and are you working with anyone to try to get June's rent caught up?
I have a real quick question though. Now, when this order was, or this court date was set in place, it was set in place for 5/19 at 9 a.m. I missed that date because I assumed, considering I took care of rent and everything like that for that month, that I was behind. And June, obviously, before the court date, I figured all the matter was squashed and everything like that. So I'm just curious how this court date's still going on, even though I took care of the $650 of the original amount written in this summons that I received.
Well, you didn't pay the court costs associated with it, and your rent still is due for this month.
I understand that, but so he basically set up two court dates for 2 different months.
No.
One I was behind, and one I would be futurely behind. I'm not following.
Okay, so we used to process differently, but the Supreme Court said that we need to put some protections in place because of COVID and the pandemic. And some people would qualify for some assistance to be able to catch up. And so they said I could do a pretrial, or they ordered the district courts to do a pretrial first. And then if someone was seeking assistance, then I had to stay or stop the case for 30 days. Well, 30 days is kind of a weird cycle for courts, because 30 days is 28 days is 4 weeks exactly. So I set these cases for review after 28 days, because you still have 2 more days left on the protections to try to get assistance from home to stay to get caught up. So that's why it's set in place. The Supreme Court has ordered that we not proceed. So it just so happens in the interim, you paid some of it, but then obviously with these long periods of time, when it crosses over the next month, it kind of monkeys with things a bit. So now June is due. And so I just was curious as to whether or not you have a plan in place, if are you seeking assistance, or what's your plan regarding your property?
Well, I certainly understand. Okay, you cleared that up a little bit, because I was like, well, he's taking me for May's rent, and I paid May's rent before we even went to court. So I'm just curious to know how we were still going to court for now June's rent, when I never got a summons or anything, or a 7-day thing from, for being late on June's rent. I paid up May's rent, and I thought the process would have to start over again.
Did you pay the filing fees, or did you pay the filing fees and court costs?
I was only told to pay $650 as per the 7-day eviction notice, as well as it doesn't say anything about what court costs would have been. It just says $650. So I paid the $650. I have a receipt on the 18th, 5/18. We were due for court on 5/19. So I'm not exactly sure what filing fees I was supposed to pay.
Hang on just a second. Mr. Freeman, he's saying he paid up before the court hearing.
Unfortunately, Your Honor, I do not have the individual monthly summary. It was my understanding that I had already put him in court. The court costs were paid out of my pocket at that point in time.
Right.
When he paid. So I assume the court costs were still part of the judgment that were not paid.
That's
why
correct. Once the lawsuit was filed. So Mr. Hanson, what happens is that 7-day notice says pay the full amount, otherwise he'll have to file a lawsuit. Once he files a lawsuit, then he does pay money out of pocket, and then that adds extra cost to you. So it looks as if the amount would be the court cost of $95. So technically it could only be $95, but the problem then becomes you get a vicious cycle, because June rent's not paid, and he could file another, and that would add another $100 to the costs.
Okay, but I still followed what was required of the 7-day notice.
No, you didn't, because if you would have paid it within 7 days, the lawsuit never would have been filed, which means you wouldn't have incurred the other $95.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to have to try to seek help a little bit for this month. I guess the one that I'm behind.
Okay.
So, I guess.
So I'm going to set the next hearing date would be then. Do we have any spots left available for next week yet? It's gonna be too quick for him to stay.
We can do July 7th again at 1:30, Your Honor.
All right, let's do July 7th at 1:30. Mr. Hanson, though, here's what's going to happen in
I know
July.
I'll be another $650 behind. I know. I'm aware.
Right. So when you ask for assistance from home to stay, if you're having problems catching up, then ask for June and July's plus the $95.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
All right. Yes.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
We'll see you on 1:30 on July 7th, unless everything's caught up.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much, Your Honor. Bye.
All right. Is that it for you, Mr. Freeman?
I believe it is. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Actually, can I get a total amount? Can I get a total amount of what that would be?
Yes.
With court costs, obviously $650, $650 is $1,300 plus whatever the court cost would be.
Yep. So if you do $1,300 plus the $95 is $1,395.
Okay. All right. So $1,400 basically. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be
Have a good
adjourned.
day.
You too.
Bye.
Is that it for the morning docket?